This whole thing is gonna be awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Bro, Chester, do us all a solid, dog, and just stop talking, man. I can't stand the echoing that he does in like every single sentence. Like if he did it every once in a while, it would probably be okay. But like, I swear, he echoes like every sentence.
I was a better CCPD captain because I'm not a metahuman. It keeps me objective.
Chief, having meta abilities gives me a better understanding of what meta criminals go through and how they're thinking.
Being human.
Now I know Kristen Kramer is not talking right now like we just magically forgot her entire season 7 plotline, girly. You just stopped hating metahumans like yesterday. Take it down a notch, girl. I'm not gonna be a full-on Kristen Kramer hater, okay? She's way better than she used to be, but still, girl, stay humble. We all know you was against all of this like last week, so like let's relax.
Say goodbye to someone.
Sorry to hear about Caitlin losing her so soon after Frost.
Oh, now they want to bring Caitlyn's death up. Now they want to acknowledge the fact that she just died and they brushed it over. We got a confirmation that she died like, what, 7 episodes ago? And they're just now talking about it more than just a little, aw, Caitlyn's dead. Okay, let's go party. I know I talk about it every dang reaction video, but by golly, it just makes me so mad. It's like one of the worst decisions I think that this writing team has ever made. I mean, killing Caitlyn off is a bad decision already, let alone killing her off and then making them go dance. Who came up with that? I want to talk to them about that. I guess now we're gonna kind of get to see Barry grieve Caitlyn, even though he should have done that from the beginning.
Something that I made you for our 1-month anniversary.
Okay, that's I'm gonna be honest, that is really not a very pretty piece of jewelry. Like, it's not the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my entire life, but it is certainly far from being the cutest piece I've ever seen. Like, it's a cute anniversary gift or whatever, and I know it serves a functional purpose, but could he have not made it any more aesthetically pleasing to look at? Because, I don't know, I mean, it itself doesn't necessarily look bad, but it would look bad as a necklace. Does that make sense? Like, it's way too big and bulky. I can't imagine it being cute. I don't know. Maybe I'd have to see it on her. Man, I'm not trying to be an op, you know, I'm not trying to be a hater 3 seconds after seeing the jewelry, but from first impressions, throw it away.
Tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Yo, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I mean, what you want, what you really, really want.
You know, there's a whole party going on in there.
It has been great to see Wally again. It has been a hot minute since we saw him last. What, season 6 was the last time we saw him? It's been a while since he's been on the show. It's great to have him back and kind of see his character at least one more time before the show ends. I've always liked Wally. Well, not always. I didn't really care for him too much in season 2, but as he developed more as a character, and as we went into season 3 and he developed throughout that season, I did actually grow quite fond of his character. So yeah, it was overall, it's really great to see him again on the show.
I hope you don't mind me crashing your party.
I'm actually glad to see Bloodwork return. I actually liked him as a villain in season 6. I think he's one of the few villains we've had over the past couple of seasons that has actually been pretty good. I mean, if you really think about the villains we've dealt with for the past couple of seasons, they haven't been all that great. I like Deathstorm. I thought that was a really good villain up until he caused my fave to die. That was real tragic, and I hated that. But other than that, he was overall a pretty decent villain for the show, I think. But other than that, we really haven't had really that great of villains other than Bloodwork. I mean, even McCulloch was pretty good up until they randomly made her good again, and they just pep talked her down and she just went on with her life. I think she would have been a much better villain if they actually kept her a villain and didn't start that weird pep talking thing. But yeah, Bloodwork is definitely one of the better villains that Eric Wallace has wrote, so I am glad to see him come back out of all of the other Eric Wallace written villains.
Wally, son. Wally. Mama needs her medicine.
Okay, we're getting to learn a little bit more about Wally's backstory, which I really, really like. I mean, we've heard bits and pieces here and there just from him being on the show throughout the years, but we really haven't heard a whole lot. So it is great to kind of get to see a little bit more of kind of what it was like for him growing up, especially when you compare it to like how Barry grew up.
Forced to watch your mother suffer. It is a pain that I know all too well.
Wow, these scenes are actually really, really good. Ramsey is really good about getting in the head of the people he's going up against. You know, first with Barry, now with Wally, and Barry again. It makes for really interesting, really tense scenes, especially when he's also very good at manipulating them on top of being in their head. So yeah, this episode has been really good so far, especially when you compare it to the past couple of episodes, which have been terrible. I mean, this is like a step up in quality. This has been phenomenal. My only hope is that we can continue to get this kind of writing and this level of good plot line in the rest of the season. Like this, I would love for this to continue so that we can at least have a few more episodes of this show that aren't filler and aren't terrible.
Sorry, is it me or is the lighting in here a tad too melodramatic? Can I get a grip or an electrician over here?
Okay, I'm actually liking the twist here right now. How Ramsey is using like some sort of set inside of Barry's mind. This is really cool. And it kind of feels like they're breaking the fourth wall almost. Not really, because that's not quite what it is, but it does give those like similar vibes. It's really cool.
No, I'm not doing this.
Cut. That's a cut, everyone.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I can't. I am disgusted.
It's okay that she's dead, Barry. It's more important that you live. You're the star, right?
Hey, Queen.
Yes, I will take whatever I can get from these writers at this point. This is the first Caitlyn scene in the entire season, which is really sad. Final season, OG character, and this is her first scene, and it isn't even really her. It's a hallucination of her. This is wild to me that this is the first time we've seen her. Anyway, all that aside, I am grateful to have this 9 seconds of Caitlyn Snow, and I will cherish it until we actually get her back, because we better get her back, okay? I would be severely mad if we don't see Caitlyn again this season, but based on some interviews I've read and stuff like that, I do believe we will be getting her back. And just kind of the way they've handled her death in general, it seems pretty obvious that they're gonna bring her back at the end of this season, which isn't a good excuse for why they've treated her death so badly, but I do believe that's why they have. Still doesn't make sense. She deserves better. Anyway, I've ranted about that enough in my past reaction videos, so I'm not gonna get into that in this one, but I am very, very grateful to have seen Caitlyn at least a little bit in this episode. You know, we also had our Frost cameo too, but they did her dirty bad with that one. Dang, had my girl falling out her casket. Like, that was disrespectful. That was disrespectful, all right? They need to chill with that, for real. But even despite all this, those two scenes right there, Frost falling out her casket and Caitlyn low-key firing Barry up, those two scenes solo all 8 episodes of Keone. No offense to Keone or anything, but like, she just can't do it the way Caitlyn and Frost have always done it. Everything Caitlyn and Frost do, they do better, period.
Will I hate you?
Dang, Ramsey is really out here achieving what every other villain has tried to achieve over the years, and that is to kill Barry. He just packed him up that quick by using Wally. That's crazy.
Barry. What have you done this time?
Yes, my boy Oliver Queen is finally back. It has been way too long since I've last seen this man. I love him, and I'm so happy that he is in this episode. I am so happy that he returned for the Flash's final season. I think him and Barry have one of the greatest friendships ever, and I love when they team up. I feel like this season would not have been complete without seeing them team up one last time. This is great. I love this.
When I took on the power of the Spectre, I thought that I was simply creating Earth Prime. But I was also making something else.
A new multiverse to replace the one that had fallen.
I am so glad that they are actually talking about the multiverse again. It has been a hot minute since Crisis, so we have been a long time with this show thinking that there is no multiverse, so it is awesome to finally see them find out that the multiverse still exists, or at least a new one exists now. But the only thing is that I wish they would have found out a little sooner. That way we could have maybe explored this new multiverse a little bit more. But now, obviously, because they revealed it so late, and the show's ending, we don't really have as much time to really talk about that and kind of look into the multiverse and stuff in future episodes, because obviously we only have like 5 more left. So that's a little disappointing, but at least they finally know that the multiverse actually still exists.
Thing I did to everyone else out there. I froze all the water in her body.
This show frustrates me in so many different ways, because why did they let Keon do all of this stuff, but they never let Frost do any of it? It just makes me so mad just thinking about it. Like, how are you really gonna have Frost on this show and nerf her every chance you get? Like, they never let her actually use her powers properly, and they constantly nerfed her. Like, she was a really powerful character. She is supposed to be a speedster's biggest weakness, and they never utilize that at all, because they're lazy and they suck at writing, and it makes me mad. Okay, I gotta talk about it for a minute, because it really gets under my skin. I can't stand that, how they had this powerful character, right, and they wasted her, and then they killed her off and killed her sister off, which was also one of the only other good characters on this show. Recreated this Keon, Gardner, and gave her some weird nature twist of Frost's ability, and they actually like let her be powerful. Like, in the interviews I've seen, it seems like she's going to be this really OP character from what Eric Wallace has said. So I guess she's going to be able to be super powerful and basically do everything that they literally could have just let Frost do. It just angers me so bad. Her death was pointless. Caitlyn's death was pointless. All they had to do to have an extremely powerful character like Keon in the final season was to just stop nerfing Frost. I know this is like a crazy concept to them, but yeah, that's all they had to do.
You lost a lot of people this year.
Yeah. Frost died fighting Deathstorm. Caitlyn died trying to save her. Tell me, how is it right? I'm alive, and they're dead.
It's not fair, Barry. I agree with you. I think that they should be alive again. Come on, bring them back. I'm waiting.
How's that fair?
Life is a lot of things, Barry. Fair isn't on the list.
At least Barry is actually showing some sort of emotion towards Caitlyn's death in this episode. I feel like this is way too late to be doing it, but at least they're doing it. I mean, it's been quite a few episodes since she died, and he's just now showing signs of grief for her, which doesn't make any sense, especially since he was dancing after he immediately found out she was dead. Like, it's weird. This whole situation is weird, and it was handled poorly. Like, you can't expect me to believe that he is knee-deep in grief and guilt for Caitlyn when he danced and partied after he found out that she died. That doesn't make sense to me. But all of that aside, I am very glad that he is at least grieving Caitlyn, finally, in any capacity, because this was his best friend. They've been best friends for like 9 years. I expected way more grief than what we've been getting, so at least we get some sort of grief in some capacity.
Add it to the list.
Ah, yes, it feels so great to see him in the suit again. I would have preferred him to honestly have one of his older suits on, the OG suit or the season 5 suit, because I don't really like this suit as much as I like those suits. But hey, I'm just happy to have this man back as Green Arrow in general, so I am not complaining. Okay, I see them putting in a fight scene, an actual fight scene, proper hand-to-hand combat. It gave us a little bit of that back when Frost was alive, because she did a lot of hand-to-hand combat, and then Mark Blaine also does a little bit of it too. But I feel like we don't get it as much as we should. I feel like the fight scenes in this show, whether they're using their powers or not, are too short. Like, I want to see some action. Back in the day, like with season 1 and season 2, we got long fight scenes, with Flash and Reverse Flash and Flash and Zoom. Like, one of the greatest fight scenes on this entire show was Zoom and Barry when he was dragging him around the city. That was one of the coldest scenes ever, and it lasted a pretty good while. I wish they would bring fight scenes like that back. I feel like every fight gets resolved too easy. So yeah, it is good to actually see a fight scene that is hand-to-hand combat that lasts more than 2 seconds.
All the times I've made you feel like you didn't matter. Everyone has darkness inside them.
Okay, this was a really good scene. I liked the fighting between Barry and Wally, and I liked the speech he gave Wally, but once again, it was too quick. Like, I feel like they didn't have a proper fight. Like, I wanted to see a proper fight between a corrupted Kid Flash and the Flash. That would have been great to have for multiple minutes. Like, a really, really good put together fight scene. And not that the fight scene was bad. Like I said, the fight scene was good, and I liked it. It just did not last as long as I wanted it to. I feel like it was a little too quick to get resolved.
Doesn't matter, man.
It is so good to see Diggle and Oliver reunite for one final time. I always loved their friendship throughout the entirety of Arrow. It was so good. I am so glad to see them together again. I mean, this very well may be the last time we ever see Oliver and Diggle together, which is crazy to think about, but I am grateful that we at least got some more scenes with them together.
Ramsey Rosso! You have failed this city!
I've cleansed the entire multiverse of your infectious cells, including the ones inside you.
Now my HLH will return.
You took care of that too.
Oh, so he doesn't have his powers anymore, and he's not sick anymore. So now he just gets to rot in prison until he dies of like old age or something. Wow, that's crazy. I didn't expect that ending, honestly.
It was you. You're the presence that told me to go back to Star Labs so that I could save Diggle.
Keon, you're connected to the natural world.
Okay, so we get to learn a little bit more about Keon's powers and how she is connected to the natural world. So that, I mean, at least they're giving us something. They kind of just dropped that she's not human or metahuman, and then they just didn't talk about it again for a few episodes. So at least we're getting a little bit more information. We're still not getting a lot, and I definitely still think that they're beating around the bush too much when it comes to her character. I know that they're saving her for like the finale or whatever for us to really get to see the extent of her powers, but I don't know, I just feel like they're dragging the storyline a little bit, especially since, you know, indirectly this storyline being so dragged out really just makes Caitlyn's death feel more and more pointless every single day. Because if you're gonna kill off Caitlyn, the character that is replacing her needs to have a really interesting storyline and a valid reason for why she is replacing this character in the first place. I mean, I still don't understand why they couldn't have just gave Caitlyn powers and left it at that. Everyone would have been happy. We would have had Caitlyn and she would have had a new power set, and that could be utilized the same way they utilize it with Keon, except Caitlyn would be significantly less weird. I know I mentioned it before a little earlier, but I'm gonna mention it again. I love seeing these two together again. They have always been great, and it is just awesome that they actually get a proper goodbye to each other this time. I love it.
You think I'm doing enough?
Do you give people hope? Are you moving through your city like a guardian angel?
Oh my goodness, this speech is awesome, and it is awesome because it is a straight callback to the season 1 speech that he gave Barry back in season 1 of The Flash. This callback is amazing. I'm so glad that they did this. This episode has been a masterpiece. I love everything about it. Wow, what a way to end an absolute amazing episode. This was well written and well made. I think Danielle Panabaker, who actually directed this episode, did a wonderful job directing it. She did great. I think the writing was good in this episode. The only complaint I have is that the pacing is a little off. I do think that this was a little rushed. I think that they definitely could have took some of those garbage behind filler episodes and made this into a multi-part crossover. But anyway, aside from that, this episode has been phenomenal, especially when you compare it to the past couple of episodes. So this is a great change of pace. I loved everything about this. It was great to see Oliver again. It was great to see Wally and Diggle and just everybody again back together. Yeah, honestly, this was great. I loved it. That is it for this episode of The Flash. I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye!